welcome back to Laugh, Wind and Perspire. This week, I'm actually going to introduce what we're talking about, because this Friday, it's going to be Kazzy's anniversary, 6 years ago that you got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I think it's really important for us to talk about that. And I know, Kaz, you and I have spoken about it, but I think it will help so many other women who know your story to help them if they're going through this.
It was in the December of 2016. I found a little lump in my boobage. I was having a bath and having a feel, not that kind of feel, a proper booby feel. So I've always felt my boobies because they've always been a bit lumpy, and I've always been very aware of things, you know, in your body. And then I was going away for a friend's 50th.
Can I interrupt and ask questions? Because these are questions that women will probably want to ask as well. Where was the lump? Sort of at the top, at the bottom, near the nipple?
Right next to my nipple.
Okay.
And it's weird because people say, well, how do you know? And I know loads of people have said, you just know. And actually, I just knew it was different. So I've had other little sort of lumpy feelings, like I had a very, you know, like look before your period. I don't know, a lot of women get like that, kind of a bit tender and sore, and you can get lumps there. But this was different. It was just different. And it was itchy. And it was itchy.
Okay. So sorry, I interrupted. You were going away with a friend.
No, it's fine. No needs. It's a good question, because a lot of people say, well, how do you know? And it's like, I always thought that, well, how would I know? Thinking, well, actually, anyway, so I was going away for a friend's birthday, and then it was at the sort of beginning of December, and then it was Christmas, and I kept on saying, oh shit, yeah, it's that little lump. I'll do that after Christmas. I must go to the GP just to get it checked. I'm sure it's nothing. Then I ended up going to my GP, and she just said, I don't think it's anything, but as you're 49, I will, they have to, I think, if they're concerned or you're concerned, they have to send you to the doctor, and it has to be, you have to be seen with, to the breast clinic, or to have a mammogram. It has to be within 2 weeks now. And I think most areas in the UK, it has to be that. I think you can get an appointment that quickly. So anyway, got an appointment. I had a mammogram. Now, when I went for a mammogram, they also did a biopsy and an ultrasound, and not sure, they said they found something, but they weren't sure what it was. Didn't even cross my mind. I went, okay, fine. A week later, I think it was about, oh, that's right, they said you'll get the results within 2 weeks. And then a week later, I got a phone call saying, can you come in? It wasn't even a week, it was about 5 days. And I said, yeah, Friday, 17th of Feb.
Did you know then? Did you know? Did you think this is not good?
No.
Okay.
I was I was at the fittest point in my life. I was at uber fit.
Yeah.
You know, energy of a fucking Tigger on speed.
Yeah.
And went there, and I used to work at the hospital, or I work on a Thursday. We used to work on a Friday. And I said, and my friend said, oh, what are you up to? Do you want to lift into work? I said, no, it's fine. I'm going to cycle to the breast clinic. I've got to get some results, and then I'll cycle up to the hospital. I said, I'll come with you. I went, no, it's fine. Nothing. It's not going to be anything. It's going to be fine. Luckily, my gorgeous Rosie came with me, because it was like, went into the room. It was this lovely oncologist, lovely Italian little lady. She was tiny. She looked about 12. And there was a Macmillan nurse in there. Didn't think anything of it. Rosie and I walked in. Hi, yeah, lovely to see you. Yeah. And then a picture on her computer of my boobage, and you could see this lump. And I was like, no, well, even if it is a lump, it's not going to be cancer. Anyway, she just said, we have, my darling, I had to do an Italian accent. We found some cancer cells in your breast. And it was, I went, what the fuck? I said, does that mean, my language was very, very, does that mean I've got breast cancer? Yes, my darling. First thing I said was, how the hell am I going to tell my sister? How the hell am I going to tell everybody? I didn't know. It was like I'd been hit by a bus. And my Rosie, who's with me, who's a nurse, she was just like, oh my God.
Oh no.
And then they just take you, the Macmillan, oh my God. I don't know what I would have done without. And she was called Caroline. She just took us into this room. I was like, I didn't know what it honestly means to this day. That I think I can't even remember much of it. She just gave me this stuff, this information, and then I had to go and get a blood test straight away. I had to go and I met Jackie, you know, Wonky Nana. Because Rosie had to go to the hospital, which she was in the right state. I was going, I'll come to work, because you can't come to work. I'll be fine. Anyway, I just went to have my blood test, and then Wonky just said, I'll take you home. I said, no, I just want to walk home. And it's like the other end of town. And I just walked home, and I was like, oh my God, I've got cancer. I've got cancer in me. It's like,
can I ask a question, Kaz?
yeah.
Was there at any point between getting that diagnosis that day and getting home, so that walk home, you thought, shit, am I going to die?
I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly can't remember. All I was worried about was telling everybody. So I remember phoning one of my best male friends, who's married to one of my best girlfriends. Well, I was phoning her, but he answered the phone. And he just went, so what are you doing at home? He said, oh, I'm working from home. And I went, oh, I'm just trying to get hold of Katie. And he went, oh, she's just working. He said, are you all right? I went, not really. He said, I went, I've got breast cancer, Foxy. And he went, well, that's not what I wanted to hear today. It was just like, I know. And I remember going home, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Anyway, my besties were right, we're coming down. Got shit-faced. And then I had to tell my sister the next day, Nines, and that was the worst. I was so hungover. And actually after that, I was like, I felt so dreadful the next day, hungover. I'm not drinking until the end of my treatment, because I can't cope with the stress. And then I was meeting my sister yesterday. Ironically, she was coming to Brighton to meet a friend, and then I met her after. I normally meet her and her friend. I've known her friend since she was at school, and she was just like, I was saying, oh, fine, can I just meet you on my own? I don't, you know, she goes, oh, yeah, all right then. Well, are you sure? I went, yeah. I said, just apologise to Sarah. I said, but I just want to see you on your own. And as I was walking to her, I was crying my eyes out as I was walking on the street. And I just had to tell her I had some cancer cells. I said, but I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. I'm fine. I'm not going to die. And that was.
But you didn't know that at that point, Kaz, did you? But you were trying to make it better for everybody?
Trying to make it better for everybody. I think they said I had a treatable cancer.
Okay.
So I had to, I had to have an anyway. And then I was going away the next day. I was flying abroad for a week. And that was weird. So it was like you're in this bubble, and people are looking at you, you know, you're checking in and go, yeah. So I've got cancer. It's almost like you want a badge saying that I've got cancer.
Yeah.
I've got cancer.
I can only relate that, I think, to when my dad died. The world continues, but you pretty much are in that bubble.
Yeah.
Of doom.
Of doom.
Yeah.
And then went away, had a lovely week away, and then came back, and then that roller coaster of MRI. I freaked out before to get in the MRI scanner. I couldn't do it, and then they were like, we'll have to sedate you. You would
because
have to
get feeling claustrophobic.
Terrible names, but that's when my panic attacks kicked in. I was like,
yeah, but to be fair, you'd had a huge blow as well.
Yeah, it was like a massive shock. Yeah. I was like, what's that, been hit by a bus, I suppose? I don't know, just like literally in a second your world changed. My life changed. And then Rosie was with me, my other friend Katie was with me, and Rosie just came in and sat with me and helped crouch down because I had to go in the MRI scanner on your front, and your boobies like hang down in this whole thing, and then they have to put a dye in your arm because I have to highlight everything in your body. So you're lying on your front like that in this like tube for not like for 5 seconds, for like 43 fucking minutes.
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it? When you're
And then it was just, I was just scooped up, and every appointment, and then I got told, I had a lumpectomy.
So they take the lump out.
And they send it off for analysis, and then they check around.
So at that stage, when you say send it off for analysis, how did they know you had breast cancer if they hadn't sent it off originally for analysis?
From the biopsy and the mammogram and the ultrasound.
Okay.
And the MRI.
Okay. So there was just the one lump. I'm not playing that down, but there was
no. So when I had the lumpectomy and I had the MRI and then the lumpectomy, there was 2 other little lumps, like tiny little ones. And then I had pre-cancer cells in my boob as well. So if I had left it, it could have turned worse cancer. It could have spread. I had lymph node removal as well, because they checked to see if it spread. It hadn't spread. So the brilliant thing was, so there's 5 of us crammed in the room. Brilliant thing was, it hadn't spread, but I had pre-cancer cells and 2 other little lumps, and then I had to have a mastectomy. And I was like, I just had a massive breakdown. I said, I can't do it. I can't go through this. I can't. I said, right, if you take one off, you're taking both off. Well, we'll see. No. And my mates are going, Kaz. I go, no.
Yeah,
I am not.
Yeah, you want to kind of be even, don't you?
Well, it wasn't even the aesthetic thing, Nines.
It was more you don't want it to come in this one.
I was petrified.
Yeah.
So what'd you do? Like, I was like, well, okay, well, I've had one off. That's great. But you just keep filling that one all the bloody time, thinking, what happens? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? And then it was just this roll. Then I had to wait a couple of weeks, and then I had my mastectomy. And my lovely surgeon, they have a management meeting every Friday. It's called an MDT meeting, management decision team meeting, where I said, look, I'm self-employed, I'm single, I'm struggling with my mental health right now. I said, you've got to do a double mastectomy. I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to go elsewhere. It's like a bit of a force to be reckoned with. And then anyway, so I got that. And then I had the double mastectomy and reconstruction all at the same time. And the only time you can have that is if you don't need any chemo or radiotherapy. So I was really lucky, believe it or not, that I didn't need chemo or radiotherapy. But the hardest thing, Nines, was just, well, that's okay. So we've got rid of the cancer, and then you got Can
I ask, from February when you got diagnosed, to what month did you have your mastectomy?
May.
February. So 3 months of kind of living with the cancer almost inside of you. So there must have been a lot of times where you're thinking, I just want this almost alien out. Yeah. Right?
Awful fear. Fear and out of control.
Growing? Is it? Yeah.
Because they said in March, because I had my lumpectomy in the March, and they said, oh, we'll have to do it. We can do it in the May. And I'm like, whoa. No, that's like fucking ages away. And they said, well, it's fine. It won't grow. It's not a fast grower, all this kind of stuff. And I learned, and so I had my mastectomy. One of my things, it's what I said, which is so important, I think, Nines, is I had to tell everybody. I had a WhatsApp group, and they were called my Booby Backup Party. So everyone was in there. My lovely Katie was in charge of, like, I had one person or a couple of people that I would tell. So anything I went through, they would just tell everybody, because it's, however much your friends are so wonderful and your family, is so tiring when you're telling people all the time. Do you know what I mean? Not in a horrible way.
No, I get it. You are having the same story. You want to change the conversation.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Just like, no, it's fine. It was fine. No, it's fine. They're just going to take my boobs off and don't need chemo. It was actually, it's a real bit of a taboo subject, because also when I was talking to my friend yesterday, I said to you just before we came on here, Nings, I had a bit of a meltdown yesterday. I was just talking about it, and that going through that was one of the worst. Losing my mum was horrific, but I knew that was grief, and you know, that was awful. But this was like, I can't explain it, Nins. It was just I don't know what it was. I lost a bit of me, Nins. I lost for a period of time, and then I got told on June the 7th, which was my sister's birthday. So from February the 17th to June the 7th, which in cancer world is a really short period of time. February to March to April to May to June, so it's 4 months. You don't need any more treatment. You're free to go. And that is when I just went right downhill. Because also your friends scoop you up, Nins. You know, you're in this bubble, and then you tell everybody that you're all clear and everything, and then they almost go, oh great, see you later. They don't. But that is when I needed support, and not their fault. Please don't, my gorgeous friends are listening to
listen,
this.
I think as well, you run on adrenaline, even though it's bad news. It's still adrenaline. You're like hyped. You know, is it good news? Is it bad news? Is it this? Is it that? And you're going through this whole journey, and all of a sudden, you're not talking about it anymore. And it's like, oh, but I know what you mean. That's when you do.
I just did not know what to do. And then I had to go on post-cancer drugs. And that is when I felt like I was fucking dying, because it affected my joints. And
does that happen to a lot of women, Kaz?
Yeah, it does. It's like severe. I would never undermine menopause, as you know, because I'd been through that already. It's like severe menopausal symptoms. I literally couldn't like grip. My hands were seizing up, my feet, my joints were seizing up, my brain fog, sweating. I'd be sat here just dripping, brain fog. I'm like, what? I remember missing classes. I remember I used to cover classes quite a lot. And I remember saying I'd cover a class and not turning up, and I'd forgotten. I'd like real major. Went on one for 6 months, couldn't cope with it. And then I went on tamoxifen, which is quite a well-known one, for a year. And then I was supposed to be on it for 5 to 10 years. And I was on 18 months. I said, I can't do it. And he said
18 months to go through that as well.
Oh, fucking hell, mate.
So those post-cancer drugs technically keep more cancer at bay?
So I had an estrogen receptive breast cancer. Okay, I was a real hormonal mess all my life. If it was going to happen to anyone, as my mates always said, it would happen to me, because I used to get terrible PMT, I had endometriosis, I had everything. And also I'd never had children, so that's, your risk is slightly higher. Anyway, all of that malarkey.
Why are you on the tablets? Is it to keep the
right? Okay, so if you've got an estrogen receptive breast cancer, but I had no womb, no ovaries, no boobage. But there was.
Why didn't you have that?
Because I went into surgery. I had full hysterectomy.
Right.
4 years before that, because of my endometriosis. Yeah. And went into surgical menopause, and then I went on to HRT. So I was buzzing, Nins. I had no heavy periods, I had no pain, no discomfort. And then I was on HRT. So I was like, oh my God, I'm living my life. And then I get an estrogen receptor breast cancer. But that was nothing to do with the HRT. Please don't. I was only on it for 8 months, 6 to 8 months. It wasn't long enough. My oncologist told me that. And I'm not worried about, I know it wasn't the HRT. And then I had to go into the menopause again, because I had to come off it, had breast cancer.
So you had your boobs off in the May, but then you got a new set of boobies.
Yeah.
In May?
Yeah, all at the same time.
Right. So they took both boobs off and then did a reconstruction there and then. How long was that operation?
7.5 hours.
Whoa.
I know.
What's the recovery like coming back from that?
Nins, I'm a trooper. I was doing peak with my blood bags hanging down either side of me within 7 days. I wanted to run. I said to my surgeon, when can I run again? That's all I wanted to know. And he said, not for about 3 months. And I went, no. I went 8 weeks. He said 12. We settled on 10. And it was, for me, it was not being able to, and then you have drains coming out of them. so you don't get an infection. But I was absolutely fine. And
Yeah.
he did an operation. He was fucking amazing. I love you, Mr. Chauhan. So sometimes they used to reconstruct from your latissimus dorsi, muscles from around the back, slide them round and make boobage. They could do it from your tummy. So that's called a DIEP. They can do it from your bum cheeks. But the recovery for that is quite tough. And at that time, I didn't have enough tummy fat. Who'd have known? And he literally, so you imagine it like a chicken fillet. So your boobs there, they just slice underneath, cut underneath, and then down. So it's like an anchor down, and lift it up, take all the breast tissue out, and then they just he just laid a little implant on top and put a mesh over, put the skin over. Neat as anything.
You've got the same skin, but all the tissue is out.
And the nipples, yeah. All the tissue is
so clever, isn't it?
So clever. 7.5 hours. They thought it was going to take about 4, but it took longer. I don't know why. I don't even know why that was, actually. Don't know why. And did you feel the need to go to anything like Look Good, Feel Better, or no, because you hadn't lost your hair or anything like that? No, and this sounds terrible. I didn't look like I had cancer, did I?
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound terrible. I get it. And I think that's where, I've done Look Good, Feel Better workshops with women, but it's about a look. You lose all your hair, you lose your eyebrows, a place where people can come together. So if anyone's watching this or listening to this,
they're amazing,
has got cancer, please look at Look Good, Feel Better, because it's a workshop. Everybody can take their wigs off if you feel comfortable. You all are going through the same thing. You will make lifelong friends. And they teach you how to put your brows on. They teach you, you come out of there feeling so much better. You do. And they teach you how to like Joe does, like our Titless Wonder, like how to wear headscarves. And I didn't need anything. No, luckily. And so the thing for me was what was going on inside here. And I remember my panic attacks were really bad. I couldn't go on public transport. I couldn't travel. I remember getting on a bus to go to the hospital to work, and because I couldn't cycle, which was really annoying. And I remember coming off, I had to get the bus driver to let me off because I was just hyperventilating, crying. I just walked straight into we've got an amazing Macmillan hub called the Horizon Centre in Brighton, and I just walked in there, walked through the door, and the receptionist, I was crying my eyes out, and I just said, I've had cancer, but I haven't got it anymore. Why am I feeling like this? And she was amazing, and I just sat there and cried for about an hour. I think you'll find a lot of people probably go through that, and I think that's again a really good, thing that you've spoken about, because it's not enough names. No, and also I think people think the cancer's out now, you're better. You feel like you're suspended. It's like we've told you that you're all right now, and then you go bye, and you're like, oh, thanks. And I was like, I don't know what to do now. But I think as well, you probably try and keep yourself positive as most as you can throughout that whole time. So, you're trying to be like this, but they're literally, you're told you're okay, and it's like, I don't need to do that anymore. Boom. I don't need to, but it was like that, and it was trying to be positive for everybody else, like hide my fear. Yeah. And they were going, what? Because I was like this. Yeah, no, fine. Yeah, no, appointment was good. Yeah, it's pretty shit. I'm feeling a bit funny, a bit panicky, but I'm all right. I'm all right. I was awful. I was struggling to sleep. I was struggling. I couldn't close my bedroom door because I couldn't breathe. It was just. This is going to be a really hard question to answer, I would think, but you went through a really, really hard time mentally with it. Do you think had you had to have had treatment and lost your hair as well, it would have been worse? Yeah, fuck yeah. See, it's nuts, isn't it? And those women that, again, go through that and that and that and that and that and that. Or, there's so much that comes with it, losing your boobs. It must be a huge part of losing your identity. I think for me, your boobs alone, then your hair. I mean, well, your boobs actually. No, probably your hair more. I think hair more because it's more visual. Yeah. I think like I think and I've always had loads of hair. It's like I've never
you know, I've always had loads of hair, and then suddenly I wouldn't have, I would have hated it, Names. I'd have actually, when I was on my post-cancer drugs, I was, because it's like, it's almost like a form of chemo. So your hair would thin, but I was brushing my hair and it was like coming out in clumps. And I had, you wouldn't have known because I've got a lot of hair, but I was like, fucking hell. It's so that the after effects of cancer are so much worse in my world than going through the actual treatment. And I know for me, because I didn't have chemo, and I know it can make you feel really poorly, but the after effects, and I know a lot of women are like that, but it's almost like we're not allowed to say anything because you haven't got cancer anymore. And I still live every single day. I'll think about, oh, you know, I
was going to say to you, if you get a pain or a little ache, or do you think to yourself, is it cancer?
Yeah, I had to go recently to the up to the breast clinic. We have open access to the clinic because we've had cancer, so I just go make an appointment. You get seen within a week or so, and everything means everything. So
is that a common thing that women do, Kaz, after they've had cancer? Do you talk to other patients or patients?
Well, a lot of women have
survivors, and they go, "Oh my God, yeah, I get a pain or something," and I automatically relate it to cancer.
We're all the same, hun. But a lot of women get checkups. I don't get any checkups because I've got nothing to check. So I have to be vigilant with me. You see, I have to check me.
That's a hard burden to carry, in it, to think to yourself, "Oh, is that pain that again? Am I having to go through that again?" It's just a constant.
Yeah, it's always there, Nines. It's always there. But I swear, 6 years, I say 4 of those years were really tough mentally for me. And I've got my medication right now. I'm feeling better physically. And that's the other thing, let me quickly say before, if you're not happy on your medication, you can speak to your oncologist. I didn't need to be on it for 10 years, but he would like for me to have been on it for 10 years. But I just said my quality of life
is,
no.
And do you know what as well? I, you know, very naively, I didn't know what an oncologist was really until I met you.
Well, I didn't really know, Neens, that an oncologist wasn't the same as a surgeon taking my boobs off. I didn't know, babes. And all of my cancer friends, like we've got Hannah, we've got Lizzie, my poor girls who've got stage 4. And we've got Titty Gritty, we've got Jojo.
Can I just say the community that you have got in that cancer of all different ages, because you've all got something in common. And I watch you all. And listen, like you say, some of them have got stage 4, but I love the fun that you are all having together.
Yeah, you have. And but every cancer's different. So I would say, if you get diagnosed, don't Google anything. Absolutely don't Google anything, and tell all your friends and family not to Google anything, because on Google, all you hear is the worst things. Okay. I didn't want to know. Even my surgeon wanted to give me the downside of having a double mastectomy. I said, no, I don't want to know. If something happens, I'll deal with it. I don't need to know. I could get this, I could get that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay.
And that was how I reacted. I didn't know anything. I just went sort of tunnel vision.
I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. I don't want to know anything else. Yeah, totally get that.
But you've got to do what's right for you.
So great advice there, Kaz. You know, if you get diagnosed, do not Google. Is there any other advice that you would give to somebody that's, you know, just been diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer?
Oh shit, man. What was I don't know. Oh shit, I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But
that's fine. That listen, Google.
I would say more if you're a friend of a friend who gets cancer, make sure you can talk to them and tell them. They can tell you anything. Contact Macmillan are amazing. Tell your, you know, you'll have a Bezzy that, you know, you can rely on. Don't worry about worrying them. That was my thing. And I think you'd be the same, Neens. You'd be worrying about worrying them. And you imagine telling DB, Neens, about you. I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know, you seeing your friends. So if you can't tell your friends, go
Yeah.
speak to your Macmillan. My Macmillan nurse is an angel. I love her. I still love her now. So we either talk to somebody, but don't, as Mila say, don't worry. It's a treatable cancer. And there is, I'm still here 6 years later. Jojo, Titless Wonder's still here. Titty Gritty's still here. Even Hannah is still here 10 years later, and she's still got cancer. So don't try not to. And don't worry about saying that you're struggling mentally. Don't worry about saying that. And don't worry about going on medication for your mental health if that happens.
Yeah. No, I think that's brilliant advice. And I think it's a subject that we needed to talk about, hun. Thanks for sharing your story. And
before that, Nings, check your boobage. Check your wee or your poo if there's blood, if it's unusual, if you get tummy pains, or if your boobies does not feel right, if under your armpits, check. Checking saved my life. Because if I'd left it, God knows what would have happened, We
need to get Jojo on here, Titless Wonder, don't we, to tell her story as well, because there are so many women going through it. I mean, what's the statistic? Do you know?
1 in 2 now.
Jesus.
Now, Joe as well. I mean, Joe and Titty Gritty. Jojo, you imagine having a single mum, and her little Freya. I think she was 8 or 9. Not Freya, you're Freya. Floss, her daughter. Oh my God. It's unimaginable.
You've got that worry and that, yeah. Okay.
You're not just thinking about yourself.
Check out Macmillan. Yeah. Don't worry about worrying other people.
Yeah.
Great advice, hon.
They can deal with that. Yeah. However awful, yeah. I know, and it's funny because 2 of my oldest, bestest mates who came down the day I found out, Sam and Katie, who I just adore. And out of the 2 of them, I said, it was only last year, I said, which one of you? No, I said, did either of you think I was going to die? And I knew which one would said yes. I knew which one would say no. It's funny, isn't it? How you know which mates you're like.
But thankfully you didn't, and you're here, and you're my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for it. Yay.
Thanks, Names.
Thanks for sharing that, because that could have been really quite emotional. And like you said yesterday, you had a bit of a blip. But as always, thank you for listening or watching wherever you are. We are available on all good podcasts and, of course, on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe.
Thank you.
I will see you next time on Laugh, Win and Perspire. Bye-bye.
Bye.